I'm live. Awesome. Welcome. Today I'm reporting from Vemmelev. I was always wanting to say that. Okay, I hope that everything works well on this YouTube channel and we are getting ready. I am teaching from Vemmelev. We have a teacher training class and I will be teaching a power yoga class. So that's what's going to happen. And I'll just push the record button so everything will be recorded. Okay. You will probably need a block. If you don't have one, you can always not go with a block, but it's nice to have one. And actually, this will be a power class, but we'll begin quite slowly down on our mats. So come down on your back with your knees bended. And this is cross yoga, so it'll be a Christian class, but everyone, I think, will be able to join. The theme will be patience and focusing on abs and stuff. So come down on your back, knees together, feet on the ground, maybe hands on your belly. And just breathe for a moment. Notice how your hands moves up and down. And maybe even deepen your breath by letting your belly go a little bit further out on your inhale. And further down on your exhale. Completely emptying your lungs. So you might choose to pray and say to God, with every inhale, may I be filled with your love. And the next inhale, that I may give love out to people around me. Inhale, God, give me patience. Your next inhale, that I may be patient with people around me. And maybe a relieving sigh out. Then stretch your arm above your head, stretch your legs long on the floor, and reach. Oh, like a huge good morning. Maybe you'll yawn a little bit. And then hug your knees in, lift your head up, kind of make a small ball. Release, let your feet reach the floor somewhat close to your hip. We're gonna lift up our hips to warm up our spine and glutes and all that. So engage your root lock. And from there, lift up your hips from the floor, that was hard to say, and all the way up. And then lower it down vertebrae by vertebrae onto the mat again. We will do this 2 more times. And as you lift up, make sure you lift high, pushing through your heels. And let's do that 1 more time. You might be faster or slower than me, that's fine. We will be returning to this pose later. All right, warming our abs. Take your right leg up towards your armpit, stretch out your left leg, just hovering over the floor. And then on your inhale, you switch your legs, exhale, bending the left knee, stretching the right. And then I think you got it. Inhale, change, and exhale, straighten out. Your lower back will be glued to the mat the whole way through. I don't know about you, but my hips are kind of noisy in this pose. And if it's, as long as it doesn't hurt, it's fine that you make a little bit of noise in your bones and all that. Now, if you want your abs, especially your six pack more involved, you might want to lift your head off the mat, chin towards your chest, and continue your last few switches. Here, flat tension in your belly. One last time through on each side. Notice if you're going too fast. Sometimes our everyday fast life continues here on our mats, and that's not exactly what we want. Okay, let your feet go. And then maybe taking a little bit of speed, sitting up and or rolling, rocking forth and back until you come into a seated pose. Put your your feet back, finding downward facing dog. So spread out your fingers, walk your feet, bending one knee at the time. Lifting your hip up and back. Now in power yoga as well, in Vinyasa yoga, flow yoga, we would want to use the Ujjayi breath. So inhale and exhale through your nose. And then you get that snoring sound on your exhale. And of course, to warm up, we want to do our vinyasa. So on your inhale, come to plank. Maybe on your knees the first couple of times at least. Lower down, exhale, elbows by your ribs. Inhale, lift your chest up, tuck your shoulders way back. Exhale, downward facing dog. Take a breath in down dog. And then your pace and rhythm, inhale to your plank. Exhale, lower down again. Option always to go for knees or toes. Inhale, lift your chest. And exhale, down dog. Awesome. Now lift your right leg up, bend your knees, and go for some circles with your hip. It might be small circles or big circles, whatever. Engage your root lock again. Breathe. And remember that your fingertips are also supposed to reach the mat. And then step your right leg through. Lower down your hip. And then slowly move forward and back again, awakening your legs, thighs and hamstrings and everything. You don't need to stretch your legs completely. So let me a little free movements with your hip. Here in our teacher trainings, we have been hearing about David, the story of King David, Goliath, and that guy. And today I'll continue with that story. All right, step it to the front end of our mat. Fold forward. Relax your neck. Bend your knees. Find chair pose. Arms somewhat aligned with your ears. And just notice how deep you sit now. We will get deeper later. Yay. And then stand tall. Open up your arms, open up your chest. Lean a little bit back, engage your core. Straight spine again. Move forward, arms out to the side as you lean forward. Half lift. Plank to low plank. You might do that on your exhale. You might jump back. Lifting up your chest again. Cobra up dog. Downward facing dog. Awesome. Okay, left leg. Bend your knee and again go for some circles. So our warming up part is still going. And I see a lot of you have a lot of speed going on. So try to slow down. just to get more aware of what you're doing with your body and your muscles and all that. Awesome. Closing your hip and step your leg through. Again, knee and ankle above each other. And then before we went forth and back, rocking forth and back a little bit, and we're doing that again. Now, as most of you know, King David was anointed to be king, but Saul was still king at the time David was anointed. So to be, not to exaggerate, their relationship was a little bit complicated, Saul and David. But David was immensely patient with Saul. All right, step it through, walk or stand at the front end of your mat, yet again, fold forward. Breathe through a deep breath if you've forgotten already. Sink low in your hip, find chair pose. And this time, just a little bit deeper than the first time we were here. Abs involved, arms lifted. And let's do our cactus hands. Let's do them for 4 times. Take an inhale. And on your exhale, cactus hands, pull your shoulder blades back, stretch out your fingers. Inhale, arms up. And exhale down. 2 more times. Inhale up. Exhale down. 1 more time. And the last one. Beautiful. Stand up straight. Arms towards the sky. Lean back. Open up your chest. Maybe exhale. Arms up again. Close your eyes and catch your breath if you haven't already. Continue with your Ujjayi breath. And then again, lift your arms above your head. Get some distance in between your arms, shoulder blades back. Take your right leg and bend it, move it to the front of the mat. And then we lean forward, finding warrior 3 at least for a short while. So stretch out the back leg, navel in. And then we want to hug our knee and our elbows together, trying to keep our balance. So hugging in, maybe bending also the knee or the leg that we keep our balance for. So like a small ball here. And then extend out, thumbs moving up, extend legs and arms. Breathe. And we'll do that a couple more times. Look at the ground. Be patient with yourself. Also, if the balance part of this is really hard. If you can exhale as you kind of squeeze together, that's beautiful, but go with whatever works for you. 2 more times. I would like your left leg to be on fire. Awesome. The next time you stretch out, lower down, right leg on the floor behind you, sink into Crescent Lunge. Bend the front knee. Are we okay? Palms together. And let's twist it out. Palms reaching towards each other, really stretching, or not stretching, pulling, and then move to your left side. The elbow on the inside of the thigh, or for the more advanced pose on the outside. Let your thumbs reach somewhat towards your chest, so it's not hovering like a satellite out. Keep your Ujjayi breath going. Sink your hip a little bit lower. Let's create some heat. Awesome. Release, framing the foot, hands down on the mat. Step that left foot back, 3-legged dog. Closing your hip, maybe inner thighs Pulling a little bit together so hips close, yes. If you want to feel adventurous today, you might go through your vinyasa with your left leg lifted. So take your plank as you inhale with the leg lifted, maybe. Exhale, lower down, elbows down by your ribs. Inhale, lift your chest, both feet on the ground. Up with Cobra, up dog, hips off the mat. And then into downward facing dog. Don't do it if it's too much, but some might find it fun. Jump and walk to the front end of your mat again. Fold forward. Once again, chair pose. Sink down, lifting your arms up. Keep breathing. And you can do this exactly as hard or as soft as you want. So if you don't want as much, just stand a little bit taller. Do you know how many times Saul tried to kill off David? At least 3 times, maybe even more. But David kept being patient with Saul. That requires something. Sink a little bit lower. Take a look at your knees and your toes pointing the same way. And a little bit lower. This is a time where we smile. All right, let's go. Thumbs together, arms out or fingers out. For me, it seems like a bird. And then lean back, elbows out to the side. Open up. Okay, stretch your arms up again. Palms together on top of your head. Navel in. Not so much you can't breathe. Extend your left leg forward. Move it back. Warrior 3. Yet again. Make sure your toes on your right leg is spread out, whole foot engaged. Let go of your hands so they're just sort of shoulder width apart with your hands. And let's do that ball thing again. Knee underneath yourself, elbows reaching in. Stretch out. Keep moving like that. Maybe bending the knee that you're keeping your balance on. You guys are doing such a good job. Challenged on your patience. I know. 2 more times. Excellent. Stretch out as long as you can before you lower down. Left leg on the mat. Crescent lunge. Beautiful. Sink low with your hip underneath yourself so that the spine is straight. Navel in. Palms again together. To engage our arms a little bit more, we don't just hold softly. We push our palms together, engage our shoulders and arms before we move into a twist to our right side. Ujjayi breath going on, stretching the back leg, engaging the quads, the thighs on that leg. Lifting the back heel and breathing. Thumbs towards our chest. All right. Hands down on the mat, right leg lifted up, 3-legged dog. And as we did before, you might want to keep the right leg lifted as we do our vinyasa. If not, just both feet on the ground. Inhale to your plank. Exhale, lower down. Make sure shoulders are a little bit further away from your hands than just on top of them. Inhale, up dog or down dog, and move to down dog. Exhale out through your mouth. So where are you often really impatient? Is that in the line, in the grocery store, in the car, with your kids, when you're tired? When do you encounter your impatientness, if you might say that? Move to your plank and then lower down again, all the way down to our bellies. Hands down by your side, palms facing up, so thumbs to your thighs. Then lift up your shoulders, lift up your chest off the mat, and maybe go for a lift in your legs as well. Now, this is supposed to engage our back, our shoulders, our glutes. And then let's go for a little bit more crazy. Arms out to the side a little bit, legs out to the side. Where do you feel the difference? Outside our glutes. Keep breathing. One more breath. Awesome. And let's sink down, stacking our hands, forehead on the mat, toes pointing in. Then lift up your head. We're going to do plank pose on our elbows. I like my mat to be folded to get a little bit more cushion for my elbows. Now, a lot of people fold their hands, but let's try to go with open hands due to our shoulders. So come into a plank. Toes or knees are perfectly fine. It's one of my favorite plank poses. Okay, we will lift our hip just a tiny bit, not dolphin pose, and then go to our regular plank, hips and shoulders aligned, and then lower the hip just a tiny bit. And that's what we're going to continue doing. So lift up slowly, moving into neutral plank. Lower our hips a little bit down. And you feel your abs on fire? If not, continue. You're always welcome to take a break in child's pose if you feel like it. So power class often really taps into our patience or our lack of patience. All right. One last lift, one last time down. And then child's pose. Hallelujah. Move back, get some distance in between your knees, forehead on the ground. So what makes us more patient? If there is a purpose with what we're doing. We don't see the purpose of waiting in line. But if we know that something good will come, it's easier to be patient. Stretch your arms out in front of you, getting ready for our down dog. We won't be staying there for a whole lot. Lift up your hip, get your knees off your mat. Let your heels sink as low as possible. You adjust your breath, still going strong. Right leg, here we go, lift it up. And we'll have to do one of these, okay? Be patient. Plank pose, right leg to your left elbow, plank. Exhale as you move forward. Inhale to lift your leg up. Exhale, this time directly underneath our belly, hug your chin in. Inhale, lift your leg up again. Last time, right elbow, knee out on your ribs as you move into your plank. Lift your leg up again, and then move your foot in between your hands. Maybe side and out. Awesome. Turn the back foot around, warrior two. So back foot aligned with the short end of the mat, and then sink low. Make sure knee and ankle are above each other. And hips pointing in. You will be facing me if you have your right leg in front. And if we extend the front leg, we can let our arms reach above our head. And exhale, bend the front knee, stretch out your arms. And let's go for 5 of these. Inhale up, 5. Exhale down. Sink low, get some distance in between those heels. Inhale up, 4. 3. Ujjayi breath. 2. And the last one. Okay, we're gonna stay in Warrior 2. Let your gaze somewhat be soft above your fingertips on the front hand. Sink low so that you feel your quads engage and maybe a stretch on your inner thigh. Notice your belly as you breathe. Now, why are we standing here trying to be patient? Maybe because we want to be fit. Or maybe because here on the yoga mat, we can learn something that we can use in everyday life. Trying to stand still, breathing. Sinking a little bit more low. Are you starting to shake? Three more breaths. 3, 2. Last one. Awesome. Release. Lift the heels off the mat. Step your foot back, down dog. And you might say, ah. You might shake that leg out. Left leg this time. Lift it up. And then we'll go for right. Elbow in our plank. Exhale, move to your plank, lift elbow. Inhale, lift your leg up, 3-legged dog. Exhale, plank this time, knee, chest in. Inhale up. To your left elbow. Come on, all the way up, kissing the elbow. And then move your leg up last time. Step it through. Turn the back foot around, heels somewhat aligned. Warrior 2. We want to try to go for hips aligned with our heels. Shoulders stacked above our hips, so our hips or our shoulders are not somewhere else, but aligned with the heels. Again, stretching the front leg, arms moves up, palms meet. Notice your shoulders are not lifted here. And stretch your leg again, stretch out your arms. 5 of these. Inhale, lift. Maybe take a look at your knee, make sure it reaches out towards the pinky toe as you lower down. Inhale up. Exhale, move down. 3. 2. Last one. And after that, stay strong in your warrior pose. Make sure the back foot is really tucked into the back of the mat, so you don't lift the outer edge of the foot. The arch of the front foot is lifted a little bit, which help us not to lean in on the front knee. Keep a little bit of a bend in the elbows. And maybe soft fingers as you gaze over them like you're looking into the future. Still going steady with your breath and maybe a little bit lower. Stay with me. 3 more breaths. Inhale. And exhale. 2. Last one. Come on. Beautiful. Release. This time we'll step it to the top of the mat. So turn or release the heel off the mat. Step it to the front end of the mat, hip width apart with your feet, fold forward. So this is supposed to be kind of relaxing pose. If you're not comfortable with having your head down right now, just go for high mountain. Okay, lift up into mountain pose. Take your block. And we're not going to use it in a traditional way. We'll play a little bit more creative with it. So you can take a hold of your block. Actually, might be better that way. So kind of the short, half short distance, maybe you'll call that. Squeeze the block. Not with your shoulders lifted. All right. From here, lift your block up. You can have a small micro bend in your elbow. The Bible can be done. Oh, that's beautiful. Yeah. Oh, that's beautiful. Okay, lean out to the side, your right side. Navel in, root lock engaged. Move up again and go to your left side. You might exhale on your way down. Inhale up and exhale to your right. Now notice you're going directly to the side, not forward, not backwards. And this is important to engage your core. Keep squeezing your block. Small bend in your elbows. A little bit more. Let's do 4. Navel in. 3. And 2. Still squeezing the block. And 1. Beautiful. Then use your block in between your knees. Again, squeezing it. And guess what? We will sit down in our chair pose. This time we'll engage our inner thighs. So sit low. And we'll use a little bit of movement. That was my plan to say. So take your arms up and rise up, cactus hands. Inhale down. And exhale up. Sit low. And you're welcome to do this faster or slower than me. Get all those sore spots in your shoulders released. A lot of blood flow going on there. Sit low for the last 4. 3. 2. Squeeze the block. And then I don't want to say what that could, no, never mind. Just release the block, stretch out your legs. Fold forward. Awesome. Right leg moves back. Crescent lunge again. Lift up your arms off the mat and sink low. Back heels lifted, back leg stretched out. And this time, we will gather our hands behind our back or just take a hold of our arms, whatever works best for you. Then lean forward to the inside of your leg here. Sink low. Try to go for a straight spine. If it's not good for your back foot, you can always do warrior 1, and this will be the humble warrior 1. Push your shoulder blades back without hyperextending your elbows. Steady breath. You can do this. Feel how you lift through the whole sole of the foot at the front. Shoulders aligned, horizontal line. Release both hands down the ground. Step your left foot back, three-legged dog, and do your vinyasa with the leg lifted again if you like. Inhale to your plank. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, lift your chest. Exhale, down dog. Awesome. Step your your right leg through. So we'll get into lunge on the other side, crescent lunge. Again, make sure the arch of the foot is lifted, even though you're flat-footed. Try to see or think or feel that you're lifting through the arch. Try to see if you can lift your kneecap a little bit up on the back leg there. And then as we did before, palms together, whatever works, shoulder blades in, lean forward. Good, let's deep. Ujjayi breath, it's noisy, like the sea. Squeeze those shoulder blades, humbling ourselves, maybe admitting that our patience could be better. At least that's my realization. One last breath. Let go, fingers on the ground, step right leg up, three-legged dog. Inhale to your plank, again, option of having the leg lifted. Exhale, lower down, make your elbows squeeze into your ribs. Inhale, Cobra, up dog, downward facing dog. All right, we're gonna jump to the front end of our mat, cross our legs, so we will be seated after. So as we jump, you can cross your legs there, and it's just easier to come down to a seated pose. Let your heels reach the floor in front of you. Lean back. If you have lower back issues, you might go for your bicycle instead on the ground with your spine on the ground. Lean back, hands here. Or actually, let's do our palms together and row our boat. Take your arms out to your left side. Maybe sit up as you come with your arms up. Lean back, right side. If you want a bit more challenge, you can actually take your block as a little bit of a weight. Or even lift your heels off the ground. A bit more balance. Then you won't be able to lean as much back. Move your shoulders to the side, abs really firmly in. Remember, being patient is not always pretty. It's not that we have to sit and smile the whole time. We can ask God, and I'm sure David did that as well when Saul tried to kill him a couple of times. God, why? But David knew that God has called him to be king. Maybe he knew that Saul would never succeed. One last time. Awesome. Now come down with your block. Place your block again in between your knees. In a place where it doesn't hurt when you squeeze your thighs or your knees together. Make sure your heels are somewhat close to your hips. And through your heels, you lift up your glutes again. Not moving directly into bridge pose, but just a hip lift. Stay here, squeeze the block, lift your hip as high as you can. You might want to walk your shoulder blades in, but you don't have to. But what you have to do is breathe. We are trying to do a little bit more abs and then some stretches and a meditation. Lift your hip, squeeze your glutes together. Two more breaths. Squeeze. I'm shaking. How about you? Oh, yeah. All right. Shoulder blades out. Slowly come down on your back again. You can side out if you like. Let go of the block. But bend your knee 90-degree angle, heels off the mat. Knees and hips aligned on a vertical plane. Then you take your right leg and slowly move it down towards the ground, or your heel actually moves down, and lift it up beside the other leg. Keep your lower back in the mat as you move up and or down and up. A small movement. Leg keeps being bended 90 degrees, so no stretching of the leg. Knee keeps being bended. Right, if you want more, but promise me you keep your lower back in the mat, you might want to choose both legs at the same time. Remember we talked about the flat tension in our belly? So squeeze your belly in towards the mat, especially when you lower down your heels. And you can count your own pace, 4 more. 2 on each side if you do one leg. When you're done, relax with both feet on the ground. Relax your abs and stuff, and you probably have a small arch in your back here. We'll do our plow pose. So this is a really powerful forward fold. If you have back or neck issues, sit up and lean forward like this instead. When you go into your plow pose, don't move your neck as you can injure your neck. If you don't know plow pose, take a look before you move in. Bend your knees and maybe you just stay here. Or you want to stretch out the legs, then maybe your feet can reach the floor behind you, maybe not. Close your eyes. Relax your shoulders. If it feels uncomfortable in any way, make sure you get out of it. It's not often that I teach shoulder stand, but let's try to move into that. Again, be mindful. If you don't know it, come out of plow pose and take a look. But basically, we stretch our leg up towards the sky so that we make some sort of a straight line from our shoulders up through our hips to our legs. You can keep a hold of your spine to support navel in. Then bend your knees, vertebrae by vertebrae coming down. You might take a hold of your lower back there so you don't bump your way down. Bend your knees. Take your arms above your head. Before we get completely into a resting position, I'd like us to use our last ab exercise. This time, try to gather the sole of the feet, but not on the floor. Just up, hovering here somewhere, knees out. I know it's a little bit weird, but try to go with me. Maybe you take your hands underneath your lower back just to support a little bit. But then it's basically crunches. So lower down your feet to the ground and then lift your hip off Knees up towards your shoulders. And you might use exhale as you lift up. It's kind of hard not to, actually, I think. Keep distance in between your knees. Looking good. Again, when your feet are down to the ground, let the lower back keep reaching the mat. No huge arch in the back. You count 4 more. Powerful exhales. This is not an easy thing we're doing here, but you're doing really well. Ooh, beautiful. Maybe shake those legs out when you're done. Roll on to your belly. Not that we'll do more back exercises, but we'll do a back bend. That will be our Cobra because we don't want to go too crazy right now. So maybe you take your hands somewhere far away from your shoulders, toenails on the ground, and then lift up. If there's more space in your lower back, you can draw your hands closer towards your shoulders. As we're stretching right now, kind of stretching our abs actually, try to relax your glutes. Notice where your shoulders are, if they are lifted. Make sure you keep them back, down. Keep relaxing your glutes. And lower down. And again, back issues, be really mindful about this. This is a huge stretch in the lower back, so don't go all the way if you know you have to be careful. Take your left leg, bend it and lift it up. And so I'm just gonna move a little bit more into my mat here. Move it back. Yeah. Right leg comes up and put the leg there. Yeah. Then we can stay here. That doesn't give a stretch. We kind of have to move our shoulder blades somewhat down towards the ground. Maybe stacking our hands, maybe our forehead can reach the ground. So the further the shoulders and the chest are towards the floor, the more you will twist in your back. And relax. Take a breath with your forehead on the stacked hands. And then move it to the other side. Left leg lifts up. Or sorry, right leg must be. Right leg up and back, left support. Yeah. And from there, move your shoulder blades down. Again, mindful of what's happening in your lower back. If you can't breathe somewhat calm here, maybe you're doing it too much. Relax again. And let's move on to our backs once again. So turn around, hug your knees in, Not so much as your lower back is lifted, but just so that you have a straight spine stretching out the stretch. Notice how your body feels as you're holding your knees. Hopefully a little bit tired. Let go of your left leg, bended knee, foot on the ground. We're going to do reversed, it's called Pigeon Pose. So right leg out to the side. Take your right hand in between that small triangle mirror or window you've made and pull your left leg in. If you're lucky enough that your right elbow can reach your right leg and move it out, else you pull your left leg in. Go for that. The stretch in our glutes. Release. Opposite side. Going back to the story of Saul and David. When Saul eventually dies, David must be pretty old, not like old, but not young anymore. And he mourns Saul. He cries, the Bible says. A guy that tried to kill you a couple of times, still worthy crying about. And I'm not sure if it's the love for Saul that David is crying about. Maybe it is. But maybe it's also out of respect for God's anointing. God anointed Saul. But Saul chose not to follow God's path. Let go of our reversed pigeon, butterfly, or what I call butterfly, soles of the feet together, knees out to the side this time, feet on the ground. Maybe your hands can reach your inner thighs. Let your knees grow heavy. Butterfly pose, sole of the feet together. As we lay here, make sure you take your navel in a little bit so you don't have a huge arch in your back. Close your eyes. And as we rest here for a moment more, maybe pray to God about things that you are impatient about. So pray to God about things that you are impatient about. Surrender your timing. And maybe pray for God to open your eyes to all the things that He's teaching you while waiting, somewhat patient or impatient. Gather your knees again. Maybe that felt really good. And then stretch out your legs, resting pose. As always, you can use your block and rest your shoulders on your block for a more heart opening pose. Or just find a way to rest for a few moments. Close your eyes. Relax your whole face and your jaws as well. So maybe open your mouth a little bit. And maybe picture God's or Jesus' face in front of you. A smile on his face. Not judging you or condemning you for your impatience. Maybe looking to your eyes and saying, my child, I know. I know it's hard waiting. And I know that during the tough times where you've been waiting, shouting, knocking on my door, you might have felt alone. But I was there. Just as I am right now. So be patient, my child. Let me guide you. And as we wrap up our time together, remember that God is never leaving. You might not see his face in front of you, as when we do in a meditation, but God is always here. If you feel like inhaling and signing out, do that. Move your head like you're saying no, but gently from side to side. And stop moving your head as you start moving fingers, wrist angles. If you're on a block, you might choose to roll off the block. And remember, it's okay to look tired, sweaty, whatever, as we come into a seated pose. Thank you for being patient with me. And God's blessings on your path from my heart to your heart. Thank you. And if you see this on the channel, thank you for subscribing and all that.